Hey, you! Have you heard about the Battle of Muret? Good. Or not good. I don't know what you're saying. This was at the end of the Crusades. And if you don't know what the Crusades were a series of religious wars between Christians and Muslims. Now what was all the beef about? The beef was about controlling the holy sites, because both Muslims and Christians saw Jerusalem as the Holy Land. It's a bit more complicated than that, but I'm not about to go into it. Because what I want to talk about is the Battle of Muret. I doubt anyone's really heard of it, but if you have, good job. Good job. Maybe a little round of applause for you. Now, in the early 1200s, during the Albigensian crusade, which was aimed at getting rid of Catharism out of southern France, and to do so, they wanted to gain control of Languedoc. And after they did that, they invaded the county of Toulouse, exiled Raymond VI. Raymond VI didn't like that very much, so he got assistance from his brother-in-law, King Peter of Aragon, who felt threatened by their conquest into Languedoc. So his plan was to stop the Crusaders with his army in the city of Muret. Now why this battle is so significant is because of how outnumbered the Crusaders were. Let me show you. Crusaders only had around 2,100 people, half of them being French cavalry, which back then they had the best armor and the best weapons for the time. So it's the Crusaders commanded by Simon de Montfort the Elder versus King Peter II of Aragon, Raymond VI, and Count de Foix. All three are very high in power. They can really get their numbers up. And they did. They ended up with a good 20,000 soldiers at least. So imagine this. You're playing Valorant, it's a 1v5 situation, then 10 people join the enemy team. That's essentially the odds of this fight. But the Crusaders had a plan, and they knew what the Aragonese people were gonna do. So what they did is they waited inside of the town until King Peter barged through the gates. But Peter, he wasn't stupid either. He positioned his army right next to a marsh and a river, so both sides of his army was protected. Then he made the militia start attacking the gates. This is when Simon showed why he is the best around. Simon led his knights and horse sergeants out of the walled town and divided his cavalry into 3 lines, with his half-brother commanding the first line and him commanding the third. King Peter had arranged his men in the same formation, with Count de Foix commanding the first line and the king disguising himself in the second line. Peter's army remained stationary while the Crusaders approached, which has got to be like some of the dumbest shit. You're just watching them come at you, but either way. Crossing the stream, Simon's half-brother's cavalry rode to the center of Count de Foix's line, with a second Crusader line following. The coalition's first line was crushed by the Crusaders. Then the Crusaders' second line broke through. At the same time, Simon maneuvered his unit to outflank the coalition cavalry from the left and crashed into them. This confused and disoriented the coalition cavalrymen, and they decided to retreat. It was at this time that it was said that Peter was killed. He was dusted, bro was slain, head chopped off, and all. But before he died, he said, "I am your king!" Which was kept, because right after that, the first 2 lines of Crusaders went around and killed the rest of the cavalry, while Simon himself rallied his third line and kept them in reserve just in case the pursuers encountered resistance. This was unnecessary. From there, Simon returned to the militia that was now inside of the town, and slaughtered all of them. That was the end of the battle. But guess how many Crusaders died? How many you think? 100? 200? Okay, before I tell you, put down in the comments how many Crusaders do you think died from this battle? Alright, have you done it? You good now? Alright, how about 8? 8 Crusaders died. Only 8. You can count that on your hands. Well, most of you. That's the end of the video. If you enjoyed, subscribe, like, comment, do all the things. See ya.
Sex in them.